Welcome back to the Honest Art Podcast. I love doing these podcasts, especially this week. I don't know if you know this, but I answer your questions. So I do a Q&A podcast every now and then. If you would like to leave your questions for me to answer on the podcast, you can go to your favorite platform, and in the show notes, you can leave me a question. So let's talk about one of the many questions I answered from you guys on this week's podcast. And that is, I got a question about shipping paintings internationally and what are some of the best practices to do so. Okay, now the question wasn't so much about like how to ship internationally, but I will just say here that it's usually best to take the canvas off of the stretchers and to roll it and ship internationally. But if this question was more about if you're going to send your art, or when you have those galleries or those individuals asking you to send your art, maybe it's in a high res image, like maybe there's a gallery internationally saying we have this this showing or this exhibition and we want to include your art, and it's international, or or something else. And so here's my big caution to you, or my answer about this. And that is that be really careful about sending any of the images of your work internationally in a high res file. And the reason is you never know who is asking for your precious, important, original work. You don't know what their intentions are. And while we want to assume everyone has the best intentions, not everyone does. And so if somebody was a little shady and they were wanting to get some really cool art for maybe their hotel or maybe some home furnishings or something like that, and they saw your art and they wanted it, let's say they got it and they didn't pay you anything or paid you very little, your only recourse internationally is to hire an attorney in that country to support you and your claim. And so it can get really expensive. It can get really just soul crushing and heartbreaking. So my suggestion is always to know really, really well who it is you're sending these images to. Know, like, have everything ironclad in writing. And if you don't send them a high-res file. So that's my take on sending these internationally. I answered lots of other questions as well. And one of the other ones that I hope you'll listen to the podcast about was somebody was saying, how am I supposed to balance my time between being a full-time mother, a wife, supporting my husband and his business, and still find time to be an artist? And I tackle that question as well as many others on this week's Honest Art podcast. So head to your favorite platform and take a listen. And if you'd like for me to answer your question on the next Q&A podcast, then definitely go to the show notes, click on it, and leave me your question. All right, take good care, and I'll see you next time.